Good day, everyone. Welcome to In Our Community. I'm your host, Jim Ducey. Our guest today is Phillip Domantay. Phillip is the owner and manager of King Phillip Independent Living facility in San Jose. Phillip was born and raised in the Philippines, where he attended college and graduated with a degree in hotel restaurant management. He opened King Phillip Independent Living in 2015 after working with a colleague for several years at an independent living home in San Jose. He's had an interesting career journey that led from food preparation after college to one of caring for people. In addition to operating his independent living home, he's also the assisted living director at a residential care facility for the elderly. He has a graduate degree from Stanford University, as well as numerous professional certificates in the food safety and residential management. Today, we'll talk with Phillip about independent living facilities. How do these living environments relate to other kinds of adult living facilities like assisted living and board and care homes? Who do they serve, and how do they integrate with the community? So let's get started with Phillip and say hello. Hi, Phillip. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Well, very well, very well. I'm glad to have you with the show today. This is an interesting topic, and I'm not sure a lot of people are real familiar with how independent living facilities work. So can you first start and just tell us, what is an independent living facility or a board and care home?
Thanks, Jim. First of all, thank you for having me today. Independent living is very popular here in San Jose. It's like a home type, like a single family home type of living where we cater individuals who are low income, mostly who are receiving Social Security. So it is type of facility where individuals needs to be independent with activities of daily living and medication, and we also provide 3 meals a day for them. So it's a shared room type of setup, and people where they make new friends. You know, it's that's how we set up for.
Is this something that requires a license to operate?
It doesn't require a license in terms of regulations. We call it Title 22 regulations with Department of Social Services. We only require a permit from the city, business tax certificate, as well as a fictitious license for you to operate within the county.
Okay, and how did you decide to start an independent living home?
So I have a friend that he has been doing this kind of business in 1995. So I met him in 2005, where we start this business. I know him back in the day, like 2002 when I arrived here, but 2005, is that time we started talk about this business. He had a friend, a retiring nurse that time, where she doesn't want to do the business anymore. She said she want to retire, don't want to do this business anymore. And he gave me the opportunity about this. He said, hey, you have the experience. You work in assisted living / assisted independent living facility where you have that foundation already to start this kind of business. So why won't just give you a tour to that place and take a look at it and you decide from there. So he gave me a tour. I met the owner for that house, and then I looked like, oh, he's easy to, it's pretty much identical to what I do right now, so let me do that.
So it's sort of like your assisted living, what you're trained to do, but you get to run it for yourself. So you're using the same skills.
Definitely. So it's the same service that you provide. The only difference there, it's a house versus a 350 unit apartment.
Yeah, that is something that I did want to find out is what is the difference? So when you think of care facilities, you have the independent living facilities, board and care facilities, assisted living, residential care. There are a lot of different names, but I'm not quite sure how they differ.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that, Jim, because a lot of people, when we get a call, they those are typical questions they ask. Are you licensed? What are you different from assisted living or this kind of facility in San Jose? So assisted living facility, it could be a house as well. There could be like 6 bed, 10 bed, 14 bed, until you have that big facility like can cater 200 to 300 300 residents. And they are licensed. Assisted living facility are licensed under Title 22 regulation by Department of Social Services. So the state, before you open that business, they inspect it, involving fire department as well, health department. So before you open the business, they have certain regulations from the roof to the base of your facility. They look at that to make sure that your residents who are moving there will be safe.
So at assisted living and residential care facilities, there are medical staff who are at the facility, and there are certain things that they can do that you cannot do, like medication assistance.
Exactly. For assisted living facility, you're definitely licensed by state of California, and that even they don't even require to have a nurse there. But a lot of assisted living facility, they bring that nurse just for uh, just going above and beyond. But we don't require them, you know. But it's better to have a licensed nurse in there because they are the one that eyes before bringing resident to your facility. They do the assessment. If I'm not a nurse, I can conduct the assessment and bring them in. But it's more advantage if you have a nurse to look an eye on that one because you want to take a look at the medical part of that um, resident before you bring them in because they maybe have something that you don't know medically that they need. For us, for independent living like we have, we're not required at all. We don't bring any nurse staff, physical therapy. We don't have those, and we don't even have a caregiver. It's because we don't require anybody that we don't accept anybody that require personal needs such as bathing, personal care needs every day, or even medication management. They should be able to manage that themselves, and medication they should be able to store, refill, take that on time. So we have certain assessment on that part as well to make sure that the resident moving into our facility at independent living make sure they are compliant in terms of those requirements.
Okay, so that's really interesting. So who does qualify to come to your facility? How are they, do you interview them? What kind of qualifications do they need to be able to be admitted as a resident to your care?
Yeah, so when we have an inquiry, we have the social workers, discharge nurse, or even doctors, or some placement agencies. They call us and they learn about what we do and what we require. So that's an initial assessment that we get information from the social worker. We ask them like, is your client independent with personal needs such as bathing, walking, dressing, everything that they need every day, or activities of daily living? If they say yes, that's one check for them. Secondly, medication. So we have certain question we ask if they should be able to manage their own medication. Do they know what kind of medication they have? What kind of side effect? Do they know what color, what shape? Who do you get it from? And how often you see your doctor, when you get the refill? All that question they have, if they have all the checks in there, then they met that two major requirements that we need, independent with ADLs and independent with medication. And then next to that is like we're gonna bring them in with their social worker to see the house. I always recommend that because I want them to have the eye of the house because they're gonna live there. Some family members, some social workers. Oh, you know what? It's okay. I can decide. It sounds like your house is better. Sounds like we you know he met the requirement. But I always recommend them to come here because even though on the pre-screen you met it, we want the client to have this house and have the feeling that yes, I want to leave it here, because even though you met the two requirement, the mental part in there where you enjoy or you don't enjoy. I don't like my roommate. I don't like the location. There's no bus
Sure,
station. Too
sure.
far from the bus station. So those are big factor in there also that make you unsuccessful by not bringing them in to the house. And they get to meet the other roommates. They meet other residents here, so they have that connection. Once you have that connected, they're gonna be like, yes, I want to move here. I love my roommate. I want to move in tomorrow. So that's a success already piece in there. So
That's great. So
that's
now, do so you had said, people come with a social worker, you do the preliminary review with social worker. Do most of the residents come from referrals from social service agencies, or what do residents typically have some kind of medical or emotional, mental health issues? What are the kinds of people who take advantage of your service?
so we especially we cater somebody who have mental diagnosis. So, and that's what we're special for. We have individuals who have bipolar. We have somebody who has, different diagnoses in there, and that's what we want to bring in the house. And this is the extension of where they came from a facility, from the county office, from the city of San Jose, or any medical facility. They bring them in here, but this is a second step for them. Once they become stable and able to demonstrate the requirements to live in independent living. So the social workers, doctors, psychiatrists, they call us, and they already know what we are requiring to, and they just gonna come by and bring them in. So once they are once the expectation and requirements are met, they just gonna come in. So there's a lot of them, hospitals, psych facilities, everywhere. We even have referrals from different state, different counties,
Mm,
and around the cities of San Jose. It's a lot, and I'm learning from them that, you know they said, "Hey, Philip, we don't have this kind of housing here in Morgan Hill area. We don't have that here in San Francisco." And I was like, "Oh, that's good to know." And that's why I have a lot of referral also from the San Francisco County or San Mateo County. And I was like, "Wow, thanks for my friend for starting up here in San Jose." We ended up in San Jose and we started the business right here in Lane. We're growing from here.
that's very interesting. So what kind of support? So now you have the people who have come they want to be in your house. They've chosen your house to be in. So now you are aware of whatever kind of issues they have, medical or emotional. What kind of services can you provide them at the house there? What is it that you offer them as far as a living environment?
So once you move in, our priority is how you make your new resident feel that this is your new home. A feeling that they can participate and have that ownership when they're in the house. Ownership such as, feel at home. If you feel like you're a person like you'd like to help with the chores, we have few residents here that love to help. He likes to volunteer, and he's been doing that for 15 years since he was started in 2005. He's a person like, prior to moving in here, his parents told us like, Philip, he would like to help with the house chores, cleaning the house, cooking, watering the lawn. So he's still here, and that is the quality of life that they're looking for. You know, um, we have services, basic services that we provide, such as 3 meals a day, um, and then it's just a reminder with medication. Although we don't help them with medication administration, we're there also to just remind them. They hold the medication, they keep the medication, they put it in their mouth, but we can just walk in there and say, because I know what kind of medication you're taking. Once you come in, I have a list of your medication in my file. So I know that you take 4 medication in the morning, and when I walk in there, and serve coffee and or breakfast, I asked him, "Hey, Tim, don't forget your medication after breakfast." You know,
Hmm.
it's a big help for them. You're going above and beyond. You're not violating something like you're not required to. It's just something. It's just a verbal. They appreciate it, and then social workers, psychiatrists, and doctor, they appreciate that because they forget. Same with us. We forget things. So it's just a piece of support that it makes a lot of difference because once you are compliant with your medication, every single day you will doing better.
You do have rules and restrictions for the residents too. It's not just we're taking care of you, you have some responsibility to the other residents. What kind of rules and restrictions do they have?
So upon move in, we have to go through a rental agreement as well as the house rules, and that's the best part in there. Where, oh my God, do we have a house rules?
Well,
Yeah. So, and that's a good piece in there that you share, that you mentioned, Jim. It's because, yeah, we're here to take care of you, but at the same time, you have other obligation also to continue reside at this is independent living. So they have to make sure that they take their medication on time. They go and see their doctors appointments. Um, they participate in the program that offer from their placement agency. Um, they keep themselves clean. Continue to be independent with your personal needs and your medication as well. They even wash their own dish after meals,
okay.
and they're doing a great job in that one. You know, and then and thing that I love about it is that after meal, it's not like you wash your own plate. You go there after 30 minutes after meal, it's clean kitchen. In the beginning, we try to do that for them, but it's kind of service that we can provide them. We want to make sure that the house is clean as well, and that's what we do in the beginning. And then we realize that this is something that they can do, just like in their own home before. They wash their own dishes. It worked, and they feel like being independent, and they feel like being responsible. So it's a big support that they get from there.
So the residents are really encouraged to be completely independent in their activities and make responsible choices. And what your facility does is it provides them a safe, unstructured environment that they can just use as their home. That's really what you are doing, with some help, with remembering to do medications and
That's right, and not only that, those basic personal needs that they need in terms of promoting the independence. There's some piece in there in the house rule where how we can promote safety in the house. So such as you can't smoke inside the house, you can't smoke in your room. We have designated area where they can only smoke. There's also a house rule where no smoking. I'm sorry, no drinking, no using drugs. You know, we have to be very strict on those house rules. It's because it can make a lot of negative impact to that resident and to the rest of the resident in the house. You know,
um,
it can be violent. It can be unsafe for everybody.
yeah,
You know,
very
so
disruptive. Are there any restrictions on family visits or people, just friends that want to come over? Or, I mean, it can be a crowded environment there.
it is a little crowded for a group home, but one of that's one of our missions. We would like to have the connection with their family as well.
Sure.
So I always encourage them to visit your son or your daughter in here, or your parents. It's because it makes a lot of difference when you see your family, even though once a week. They get too busy, and then the first question they ask me when they inquire, can I come and visit? Can I drop off food on the weekend? And I said, definitely, and I would love you to do that. It's because it makes a lot of difference. If you have this diagnosis and you miss a lot, the depression will kick in, and it makes a lot of impact for them.
Yeah.
you know and that's why, and one of the thing, another piece, people think it's just like not a big deal, like because I'm too busy, I can't go there, but they don't realize it makes a lot of difference for them by missing
I'm sure.
somebody.
I'm sure it
It's
really does. So now, what kind of programs I've seen on your website that you have holiday get-togethers and you try to celebrate birthdays? What kind of programs and activities do you have there?
wow. I'm glad you asked that also, Jim. It's because one of the things that it promote the quality of life of everybody is we recognize those special days for them. You know, during assessment, I ask one question and it makes a lot of difference for them, and it's very important. That question, like, what is your favorite holiday? You know, if they say Christmas, I share with them like what we do for Christmas. And when you say that favorite holiday, is because what do you expect from there when if that's your favorite? You expect like good decoration in the house, food, gift. So once they are in your house and you continue to provide that to them, it makes a lot of difference. I have that Christmas party every year
That's great.
on the 25th morning buffet. And I asked him, it's not like I put food in there. I asked him, what do you guys want to have for your Christmas party? You know, very simple. They asked, like, I want hot chocolate. I want cookies. I want this. Once you put the cookies and hot chocolate in there, you see the smile on their faces. And it's not only that. We give them a little piece of paper, or sometimes I just verbally ask them, what do you like? Give me 3 things that you love to have for Christmas,
Hmm.
And they're very simple. They very, very simple requests. They just want a new shirt, a new pajama, and, a shoes or socks. You know, you can get them anywhere, but once you hand it to them and they unwrap that gift, you see you see the smile on their face, you know, and that is very important for us as well because, you know, their family might be not visiting them, they may be busy that time, but we're
Mhm.
there. I have family members that live in South Carolina, you know, and then we are the extension for them, even though they're not physically here, you know, here's your gift.
That's
I
great.
have a gift for you for Christmas, and that makes a lot of difference to them. And that's we see that once I see you smile in your face and you're happy, that means we're doing something good for you.
That's great. That is really great that, you do make it a real family place, somebody feels safe and comfortable as a family. Do your residents, you had mentioned that, this seems like a step going forward from whatever facility they were in before. Do the residents see this kind of communal living as like an endpoint, or is it something where they're learning new skills so that they can move out and be on their own?
I see a lot of residents like that. They move in here, and another question they ask also, how long I can live there? Is
Yeah,
it short term,
exactly.
long term, right? And I always tell them, you can live here as much as you can, as long as you follow the rules. And what we see, a lot of them is like when they come in here, because they just need a little reminders with medication, and then they have to build up their trust for themselves that, hey, I can do that myself. I can, since once they demonstrate that ability and to become independent, what happened is like they started looking at apartments, you know and it's not like we hate to see them, but at the same time I'm very happy to see that, because you know what, you live here for like 6 months, you demonstrated ability to take care of yourself, and you manage your own medication, you're always on time with medication, and you don't have any outbursts or any behavior. I will let your social worker know about this feedback, and then once they hear that, they're gonna you feel they gonna I want to live in my own apartment. And that's what we like them to see as well, because
Sure.
living in your own apartment by yourself, it is a big impact for them, and it's a good accomplishment,
It's a
and
big
we would like
step.
to support them with that.
Yeah, it's a big step. How long is the maybe average or normal amount of time people stay there before they transition on?
So it
You had said
varies.
somebody has been living there for like 15 years. So,
Right. So, you know, I'm glad you mentioned that too, because like I mentioned, we have other people that, they're very qualified to be in an apartment. They apply and they're ready to go. And even the social worker said he's ready to go. There are some times also where, okay, you got approved with your apartment. You know what happened? They come back.
ah,
And they were like, you know what? I know this is what I like to do, to live by myself, but I love there. I miss
ah,
that place. And I go back. And it's like,
yeah.
yeah, your bed is still open. Come
That
back
makes
here.
it, that makes it feel like a family. That's
Yeah.
good.
Is that another winning piece of us? Yes, because you know what? I love it. When they say I love living there, that makes a lot of difference
That
as
makes it
well.
feel good too.
No, 15 years that you live here, or 6 months of transition, or 1 year or few years transition, it's very different with their cases, and I see a lot of them like months or years as well.
That's great. So we do just have a minute left. Can you tell me what you see as your growth period? What are you looking for? What is your goal over the next 5 years, we'll say?
I have a lot of social workers that is trying to encourage me to extend, because when they call me and say, do you have opening? And I say, I'm sorry, no opening. Philip, how could you? I always call when you don't have opening. Why couldn't you just make another extension? In your house, I saw your house. You have big backyard. Can you do extension in there? And I was like, that's a good idea. Or get another house.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they even offered me to connect with some kind of agency to help me with starting up fund. Philip, if you want a fund for starting a new place,
Hmm.
I can connect you to this friend of mine, and I'm sure you're gonna get approved, because that's what they do. And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. But one thing that holds me is that, I have a commitment also with my full-time job,
Right.
and that's something that I do every day also. And not only that, after that work, I go to school at night and I teach there. I have, that's another piece that I like to continue to do, is because what I learn at daytime from my own business and from my experience from this residential facility, I bring it at night to my students and I share it to them. And there are healthcare students, and I tell them like, this is what I experienced today, and this is how I did it, and something that how I did not handle it properly, or how I handle it properly, I share it to them. So if they
Right.
face it in the future, they're ready. And
That's
that's why I would like to continue with that one. So that's one of the things that hold me, because the time, and I don't want to get another extension and then I drop it there and I lost that repetition that I have in the
And
past.
I think you might lose something if you start stepping back and back from the personal day-to-day interaction with your residents. That is important. And it sounds like you're super busy already.
It is. It is.
All right. Well, I thank you very much. So we're out of time, Philip. It was really a good conversation. It was good learning about independent living houses. So it's good to talk to you. Thank you very much. And it sounds like you've got a great, great life and great career going on there. Thanks very much for all the help.
Thank
So
you,
thank
Jim.
you very much, viewers. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you for having
viewers. This has been In Our Community. We've been talking with Phillip Domantay of the King Phillip Independent Living Facility in San Jose. Thank you all very much, and we will talk to you again on another episode. Thanks very much. Bye.